For today's Cyber CEO episode,
she's taking a huge load off a lot of our backs and shoulders because of what she does and how she does it. She's very accurate. She's the sweetest person on earth. I just love her so much. The tone in which she carries in her communication makes the team work well. That impacts my team. It would say to take the burden of just stuff off of not just my shoulders, but a little bit of everybody's at the end of the day.
welcome to Cyber CEO, wherein we talk about how our cyberbackers helped our cyber CEOs take their businesses to the next level. Cyber CEO is powered by Cyberbacker, the world's leading provider of admin support services from anywhere in the world to anyone in the world. Please visit our website www.cyberbacker.com for more details. Another awesome day here at Cyberbacker. My name is Jello. We're back with another episode of Cyber CEO. And of course, we have a very special guest on the show. Chung Mi, how are you doing today?
Very good. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, we're very excited to have you on the show. And again, I'd like to thank you for your time. And you're very busy, so really appreciate you being here today. Now, to start things off, we just wanted to know more about your Cyberbacker experience, of course, and how everything is going. Now, how long have you been partnered with Cyberbacker, Chung Mi?
Oh, it feels like yesterday, but she's so good. She's definitely been here for a minute. So I'm going to say maybe 7, 8, maybe 9 months. Yes, but 7 to 8 is, but my times might be a little bit off.
Okay, so a few months going into the first year then of the partnership. Now,
Yes.
If you don't mind me asking, is this your first time to work with someone virtual in Cyberbacker?
Yes, that is correct. And I believe it's probably closer to a year.
Closer to a year. All right.
Yeah, sorry
Gotcha.
about that.
Don't worry about it. Now, talk to me more about that experience, transitioning to working with someone virtual, because I know the world really changed after the pandemic. Everyone went virtual. Not really a lot of our business owners, not really a fan of the office before. I mean, after the pandemic. How was the transition for you personally, working in the office, things like that, now having to work with someone virtual?
So during the pandemic, my life didn't change. I still had to show up and we still had lots of work to do.
Mhm.
Now, the work looked differently because of how people were different. So we did lose some staff, which made it more work. So although we might have slowed down in our business, which I believe, honestly, it actually got busier because everybody was pulling out of the market and we were still there working like we do every day. So transitioning into the Cyberbacker was the hardest part for me personally, was letting go, because I've never had the experience of having somebody do something virtually, if that makes sense, right? So you're stuck in a position where the market's already shifting. You're already shifting and transitioning how you do business. Now you're asking me to let it go, and I'm not even sure how I'm supposed to do what I'm supposed to do already. So it was a big deal.
All right, big deal, a big transition then. But how did you start off the partnership then with your Cyberbacker Jelly, is what you mentioned earlier? How did you start it off? Let's say first few weeks, how did that start?
Well, to preface that, before she started, we had to figure out and prioritize our business, right? So in order to effectively use the Cyberbacker, we have to be working effectively as people, as a process, as a business, whether you're an individual, a team, or however you break down, your jobs. So it forced us to streamline some of the things that we were and weren't doing, as well as understand what we were comfortable letting go with in stages and saying, okay, this is good. And if this works out, then okay, then maybe this, and then maybe this. And then watch how that would grow organically.
Yes, absolutely. Just being ready with the process, because again, you're adding another person to the team. So really have to have all your ducks in line, something like that, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And clarity in making sure your process obviously is clear, but there's clarity for the Cyberbacker. So they're 100% aware of what your expectation is. And that way they can meet it.
Absolutely agree there. Setting proper expectations during the beginning of the partnership, I think that really goes a long way. Now,
Yes.
I want to talk more about Jelly, though, your cyberbacker. What you mentioned earlier, I'm a little, a bit turning into a year that you've been
Yes.
working with your cyberbacker. What are the tasks then that you need help with? That's why you partnered with Jelly, your cyberbacker.
Well, we do a lot of business. So, I mean, just last year alone, which wasn't our busiest year, it was almost scary because it wasn't our busiest year. But to give you an idea of our volume, we did about 120, 21, 25 deals in general. That's a lot of transactions. That's a lot of tasks. So when you say, what did he do? It's a lot of tasks. It's a lot of specific follow-up and making sure that the tools that we have are updated so we can manage that type of volume, because you can't just do it on a piece of paper. It's not humanly possible. And it's definitely not humanly possible for one person to take care of it. So she was, I mean, a huge asset in making sure that when we got information and when we got a lot of documents, of course, we're in real estate, that those were saved over properly, named properly so we can find them, sends out lots of emails and communication to our clients, both sellers and buyers and agents and lenders and escrow and title, sometimes home warranty companies. We have a lot of different players, and that communication is critical. So we've been able to create a process with a lot of templates that help accommodate the communication, but that still has to be managed, right? And she helps assist in that, as well as making sure our information is correct from the MLS to all the different tools, as well as spreadsheets that we have, and making sure, you know, financially that the numbers are properly. There's a lot of things that obviously goes in the process of real estate, and she does a phenomenal job. So her tasks do range, and there's a lot of them.
So she's basically almost everywhere in the business then, almost.
Yes, for sure.
There. Now, I'd like to talk more about Jelly, though, and the partnership that you have. Of course, after task, you still have to build on the partnership. And building on the partnership, it needs trust for this to work out, right? Now, How do you build that trust working with someone who's virtual? I know some of our listeners might have a difficult time grasping the idea of trusting someone who's virtual. How did you do it in your partnership with Jelly?
So trust is funny. Everybody says it's earned, but the reality is if you don't give them anything or trust them with anything, you can't earn anything because they've not done anything, right? So for me personally, I had to trust that we hired the right person, that we went through the proper process to vet her, to ask the right questions, to find the proper skill set, and to place her in that spot. So I had to trust me to make sure that I did my job. Now I have to trust that she is who she says she is, right? So I went in saying, I'm going to trust you with these specific items, right? These specific tasks. And she went through it and we trained her, and, you know, there was obviously a learning curve, but that's for everybody, and no different from a cyberbacker to an actual in-person situation. And she did great. And then we would do more. And then when there was any course correction or any things that we needed to change just due to the dynamics or the distance, or let's do this, but how do we make this work with you being over there and us being over here, accesses, we just kept moving forward, and she continued to perform. So her performance aided in the trust, but I didn't wait for her performance to trust her. I had to trust her up front, but I had to trust that I made the right decision. And if I didn't, that's okay, right? It was just a matter of you have to trust the process. So
really love that, the way you look at that. Again, just giving the trust during the beginning of the part. It's like if you don't, for example, you're applying for a job, looking for experience, and you don't have that, how are you going to get the job if you don't have experience? So I think that it plays the same. It plays the same tune, something like that, right? It's almost the same concept there, right?
Absolutely.
Now, how does communication play a part in the partnership, in the trust in the partnership? How often do you communicate with your cyberbacker?
Every day. So I don't like to micromanage. That's not, if I have to micromanage, then I don't need her, right? At the end of the day, if I have to micromanage anyone, then clearly they're not the right person for the job. But in our job, communication is critical. So when we have something coming down and information that needs to be disseminated to the proper people, I do need to communicate that to her because I'm the one that they're going to speak with first, most likely, or someone on our team before she gets it. Unless she sees the emails, in which case she then reaches out to us, and it could be in a text. It might be through Zoom. We do Zoom as well as through email. So there are various forms of communication. So we're always talking in one way, shape, probably, and not so much in a management level, but in a updating, like education, like, oh gosh, we got a leak at 123 Maple Street. I'm going to call the person over. Go ahead and take these photos. They just sent them, save them in there, send them to the seller. I'm going to call the seller right now. But that type of communication happens often because, it's people and it's houses. So we're constantly communicating, like constantly, every hour. Absolutely.
Every hour.
Yeah.
So really open lines of communication, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in this partnership that you have with 𝗙𝗹𝗪. Now, one last question before we end today's interview. What's been the biggest impact of working with 𝗙𝗹𝗪, working with someone virtual to your business so far?
Wow. Well, there's been quite a bit of impact just in general, but the largest would be the ability, like I mentioned, to let it go and allowing her the flexibility, the freedom, and the ability to make decisions for any changes that she might see might be a little more efficient. So she's really helped in that respect. She's taking a huge load off a lot of our backs and shoulders because of what she does and how she does it. She's very accurate. She's the sweetest person on earth. I just love her so much. She's opposite of me, but that's what we need, right? She's really great, and the tone in which she carries in her communication makes the team work well as well. And that impacts my team because we're only as good as our weakest link, right? And if it was her, that would still impact us, but she is definitely not the weakest link. And but it would say to take the burden of just stuff off of not just my shoulders, but a little bit of everybody's at the end of the day.
I think that's the idea of teamwork. Again, one team, one family mindset. Right?
Yes. Absolutely.
Now, obviously, once we have this online, 𝗙𝗪's going to be able to listen and watch this. So I was wondering, do you have any special messages or quick shout out you'd like to give out to your Cyberbacker, 𝗙𝗪?
Oh, I know it's rough some days. Again, we do a lot of volume and not everybody's as nice to us as we would hope. And sometimes that bleeds out. But I will tell you that I just cherish her and love her to death and know that it takes a strong person to do what we do. And I believe she is absolutely that strong person. And of course, those skills are transferable. We'll take her wherever she needs in her life. I believe that 100%. But we are so happy to have her as part of our team.
There we go. Now, we are very, very excited to see where this partnership grows to, of course, and the continued success of this partnership all throughout the years. And again, Chung Mi, thank you very much for dropping by today. I had fun.
You're welcome, 𝗙𝗪𝗪. Very nice to talk with you again.
Thank you for listening to our daily dose of CyberCEO. Stay tuned to know more about how Cyberbacker creates a difference in this digital time and age. You can visit our website www.cyberbacker.com and follow our social media pages on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Spotify.